Shrikar Prabhu, you can ask your question.
Sure, Prabhuji, thank you. Hare Krishna, Shankarananda Prabhu. So it is stated in the purport, I think in text 25, that if someone doesn't cry or show bodily changes when chanting the holy name, they're hard-hearted. So how can we understand this, Prabhuji? Like for me, right? Different people show their emotions differently. Like for example, I might not cry when chanting the holy name, but I don't know, my mom might, for example, because she's more delicate and sensitive. But like, can there be sincere devotees who don't cry? And how, Prabhuji, I just had this question. I just wanted to ask. Thank you.
Very nice question, bro. Very wonderful question. So, yes, this is the verse which is indicating that after a prolonged practice of Krishna consciousness, if the person is not developing ecstasy, the symptoms of ecstasy, that means there must be a lot of offenses he is committing. That's what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, quoting this verse, explains. Tabe jane aparad tahate prachur. One should understand that the person has been committing lot of offenses while chanting the holy name. Therefore, the eyes do not, brim, or the person doesn't shed tears or cry in ecstasy, in spite of chanting the holy name of Krishna for a very, very long time. So that means if a person is sincerely practicing Krishna consciousness and chanting Hare Krishna and carefully trying to avoid offenses, it is invariably that person will develop the symptoms of ecstasy. The person's heart will become very soft and melt. Simply hearing the holy name of Krishna, hearing the merciful nature of Krishna, the person will actually develop the emotions. That doesn't mean that the person will show or make an exhibition of those symptoms in public. If a person is making show in public, means he has some ulterior motives in general.
Right.
Because the saintly person who has actually developed the emotions and love for Krishna, he in public place tries to hide that emotion. So in general, even if a person is very advanced and exalted, you will not see the person crying in public. In fact, there is a beautiful pastime in Gaur-Kishore Babaji Maharaj. Gaur-Kishore Babaji Maharaj, he was having a small place to stay one time, and one time when Babaji came to his place, and the courtyard, there was a big courtyard, so this Babaji came with a lot of followers. So the Babaji sat down there and he was speaking about Krishna Katha, and while speaking, he was actually shedding tears. He was weeping and crying while speaking Krishna Katha. So after all, one of his servants or associates who were serving, assisting him that time, he said, "Go get some Ganges water and cow dung." So servant said, "But why Babaji Maharaj? This Babaji was actually sitting here and he was, speaking Krishna Katha speaking. How can it be contaminating?" And he was crying. He had so much love for Krishna. Babaji Maharaj made a beautiful statement. He said he was like a prostitute. And Babaji Maharaj explained that a devotee, a true devotee who has love for Krishna, the symptoms of ecstasy are like the secret parts. Like a woman, she doesn't reveal the secret parts of her body to everyone, right? She will reveal only to the husband.
Yeah.
So similarly, he said a devotee, a chaste and faithful devotee, does not show these symptoms of ecstasy in public or keep propagating or showing everyone and everywhere. Sometime it may happen that devotee is not able to restrain. But in general, the devotee restrains his love and emotions, loving emotions or ecstasy in public places. He will show it only to Krishna. So when a devotee is alone, in front of the deities or in presence of Krishna, he will exhibit these symptoms. But in public, he will try to restrain those symptoms. So sometimes, even though the person is practicing Krishna consciousness for a very long time, you will not see the symptoms being exhibited. Like in life of Prabhupada, hardly one or two instances Prabhupada, lost the control emotion while speaking Krishna Katha.
Right.
But in general, Prabhupada was very composed. He would not exhibit the symptoms of excess in public place. But in general, if a person is sincerely practicing Krishna consciousness, he will develop these symptoms. But if one is not developing these symptoms in spite of long practice, it means the person has spent few decades in Krishna consciousness and still does not develop these symptoms, it means the person is committing offenses and is not being very careful avoiding the offenses. So this is the import of this verse, that if a person is sincerely practicing Krishna consciousness, his body will invariably develop the symptoms of ecstasy. I hope that answers your question, Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhuji. It definitely answers. It just means that I'm committing offenses while chanting.
Definitely, we all need to be introspective. We are not, because this is something very personal to our Krishna consciousness, but we should know that developing symptoms of ecstasy takes long practice. So if you have been practicing for 40, 50 years and still you're not developing symptoms of ecstasy, then you should think that, okay, maybe I have a lot of offenses being committed.
Okay,
Prabhupada mentioned that it takes at least 30 years to perfect one's chanting the holy name. If you've been chanting 16 rounds in the association of devotees following the regulatory principles for 30 plus years, and if you never felt any ecstasy or joy, then one needs to be introspective and try to analyze where I'm going wrong, what offenses I'm committing.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Prabhuji,
40 years is a very big time, Prabhu. Like people may complete their life. There may not be a time for it. 40 years is a very long time. People may not have introspection unless he comes to Krishna consciousness at 10 years or 15 years. Maybe I think Krishna consciousness carries over the life.
Krishna consciousness carries what through?
I think Krishna consciousness probably carries across lives. Means this is a Sukruti carries. Probably, I think in that context we can understand.
Yes.
Prabhu, I have one quick follow-up question. Does it mean emotional people are more like tuned to devotional? Means they become more attracted, or they'll quickly succeed if they come to the devotional service?
No, it's not like that. But we should know one thing, that when a person comes new to Krishna consciousness, in the beginning, Krishna gives a lot of happiness to the person. So in the beginning, a person may feel crying. He may have all the excessive symptoms, but that's like a promotional offer. Krishna gives promotional offer in the beginning, just giving glimpse of what ecstasy is, what the happiness of Krishna consciousness is. So this happens practically with every single sincere practitioner of Krishna consciousness. When they come to Krishna consciousness in the beginning, there's a lot of happiness, a lot of joy. The reason being also because Krishna wants is to give the glimpse to the person what Krishna consciousness joy is, and also to attract the person to Krishna consciousness, the happiness of Krishna consciousness, and also because in the beginning, when a person comes to Krishna consciousness, generally there is no offense. The person sees everyone as a pure devotee, right? And therefore is bowing down to everyone, willing to accept instructions from everyone. But as the time goes by, we start thinking that, oh, I'm better than everyone. Oh, I can dare to instruct even somebody who is been much more in senior or better position in Krishna consciousness. So we start judging people, and that's how we start committing offenses, and that becomes a hindrance to our joy or ecstasy of Krishna consciousness.
That's nice, Prabhu. That's nice to know. I think should be very, very careful. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have just a simple follow-up question. What would be the ideal time for chanting, Prabhuji? Because for me, it takes 2 hours. But for my son, Shrikar, who just asked you a question, for him, he will do it very, very fast. So can you please explain what would be the ideal time for chanting, right time,
Ideal time duration you're talking, or ideal time in the
Duration, Prabhuji.
Okay. So Prabhupada used to finish 16 rounds in approximately little less than 1.5 an hour. So around 1 hour 20 minutes used to finish. So approximately 5 minutes per round. So anywhere between 5 to 7.5 minutes is perfectly fine. Of course, more than 7.5 minutes means generally we are probably not focused in chanting the holy name of Krishna. Well, so that means from 5 to 7.5 minutes per round is acceptable range on average.
So from 1 hour 20 minutes to 2 hours is a good duration, right, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Okay, Prabhu.
Depending on every devotee's individual speed, so it's perfectly fine. So typically, most of the devotees, they take around 1 hour 45 minutes to chant 16 rounds.
Yes, Prabhuji. Because my son usually does 1 round 5 minutes, very, very fast. I don't really understand how he does. So is it okay to chant like that, 5 minutes per round?
Yes, that's perfectly fine. Prabhupada used to chant like that.
Okay.
Prabhuji, if I clearly spell out the mantra, I chant like this: Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. I cannot go faster than this. If I go faster than that, then my mouth starts going in. So if I do like this, it takes continuously 9 minutes for me.
That's there could be some exceptions. I've seen some devotees. They do chant slowly because they just cannot chant loudly. There are few exceptions to that rule, but in general, I'm saying in general, this is the time duration, because I personally timed out also. Of course, you can never bind Krishna in the time duration, but I've observed personally that if I chant, with a moderate speed, it takes somewhere between 5.5 to 6.5 minutes per round. And I'm not trying to really rush. I say, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. It's a modern, and I'm not taxing myself or trying to rush through, but it takes approximately 6 seconds or 3 seconds per round, per mantra to chant. Little less, but approximately 3 seconds, you can say, per mantra, which comes around 20 mantras, or around that much per minute. So little more than 5 minutes.
I see.
5.5 minutes, you can say. But that's perfectly fine. Even if you're taking 9 minutes, I've seen some devotees do take a little longer. But in general, between 1 hour, 20 minutes to 2 hours is ideal time.
I tried doing faster and all, but I do not really feel like chanting like that.
Yeah, actually, sometime you can take a timer and try to see how much time it takes for a mantra to chant at a decent or good speed, and then you will find out, if you are actually chanting with appropriate speed. Suppose I'm taking, say, 4 or 5 seconds per mantra to chant. I'm taking, for example, if I'm taking 5 seconds per mantra to chant, that means 12 mantras per minute. Then it will take 9 minutes for you to chant.
Right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And probably 3 seconds or 4 seconds.
Sorry, bro.
I think 3 seconds or 4 seconds, I think. And then
Yeah.
breathing.
It is approximately 3 seconds if you are chanting at the moderate speed.
We have to include breathing also.
Yeah. but I'll tell you one thing. My experience is we cannot bind Krishna's holy name. There had been times when it takes almost like 10 minutes for me to chant one round.
Okay.
No? But on average, I know it takes around 1.5 to 2 hours, somewhere between that time to chant the 16 rounds for me. So it's perfectly fine. I mean, don't worry. Slowly and gradually, the speed also improves. And as I said, we cannot bind Krishna with the time. We can bind Krishna only with love and devotion. So it improves. Eventually, it improves automatically. You don't have to put an effort to try to reduce the time. It'll improve automatically.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, I have one follow-up question. Prabhuji, is it okay?
Yes, Madam. Go ahead.
Prabhuji, is it okay if while walking we can chant only in the sitting is a good position? Because sometimes if I'm sitting more than I'm getting numbness, so sometimes I'm walking and chanting. Is it okay?
Yes, Madam. Perfectly fine. Walking, sitting, as long as you're not lying down, that's okay.
Oh, okay. Okay, Prabhuji.
Because, of course, even lying down, if somebody can chant, that's good. At least chanting is good. There is a, proverb. I don't know the source, but I've heard this. Right from the beginning of Krishna, I heard that when a person sits down and chants Hare Krishna, Krishna stands beside him and hears him chant the holy name. When a person stands and chant, Krishna dances in front of the person, and when the person is standing and chanting. But when the person is dancing and chanting, Krishna becomes completely conquered by the person. So when you're dancing in the kirtan and chanting the Krishna's name, Krishna becomes practically purchased by the person.
Dancing is allowed in Japa, Prabhu?
No, not dancing during japa, I'm saying kirtan, during kirtan. So even if somebody lies down, Krishna will sit next to him and hear holy name.
Prabhuji, just a follow-up question to that. So a lot of times when chanting, I lose focus because my mind just goes everywhere. But I really like kirtan. So the way I do my chanting is I think of it like a kirtan. And also the reason I go fast is because I'm always doing fast beat. So it's like I just think of it that way because otherwise I'll lose focus. And so I have to think of it like a kirtan because I like kirtan. So
Whatever helps, perfectly fine.
Is that okay? Okay then.
Whatever helps to focus on the holy name of Krishna is perfectly fine.
Okay.
The essence is that we should be vibrating the name of Krishna clearly and hearing attentively.
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, actually, is there any sloka for in Bhagavad Gita saying Krishna is standing next to us, listens, everything we say?
That's what I said. I heard this in the beginning of our Krishna, Krishna in the early 90s. I heard this, but I never found the source where it is said.
No, Prabhuji, actually, I read it somewhere in Bhagavad Gita, but I exactly don't know. So just
Not
asking.
I'm sure it's not in Bhagavad Gita. I didn't find it in Bhagavad Gita anywhere, but
okay.
I had heard somewhere.
Yeah, okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
So I think some devotee quoting in the lecture I had heard.
Okay.
Prabhuji, I just try to time it with my speed. So one mantra I'm taking 4 seconds, and then for every 3 mantra I'm taking a breath of 2 seconds. So just I put up the calculation. It comes to, for my speed, it comes to 8.5 minutes.
So that's what I said. Just don't worry. Don't worry about it. As long as if you know that you are able to hear the mantra clearly, it's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Because the more important in the entire japa is hearing. If you are able to hear attentively, then it's perfectly fine. So again, as I said, it's a general speed, but there can be exceptions. And there are always some exceptions.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Prabhuji, one more thing on this. As the focus increases, right, can we expect increase in speed also? Generally, for me also, it takes around 8.5 to 9.5 minutes. But in rare cases, it takes around 8 minutes when I'm well focused. Is there any relationship, Prabhuji?
Yes, definitely there is a relationship. If you are your focus increases, then your speed also automatically increases.
And it can drastically come down to 6 minutes also if somebody is.
It will come down automatically. You don't have to try or put a separate endeavor.
Okay, yeah. But it has been like 8.5 to 9 minutes for a long time for me. But yeah.
As you just said, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you, bro.
Really.
Okay. Narottamanas Prabhu, you can ask a question.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the wonderful answers, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have a question. So we have heard that, at least I heard, probably it's true, that even Lord Mother Lakshmi, is she wants to enter into Vraja, but she can't enter Vrindavan because that's not the mood, or I don't know. I've heard this somewhere, and also I heard devotees saying this. I don't know if it's true, Prabhu. If that's true, Prabhuji, then if God Lakshmi can't enter Vrindavan, or she's so to say not eligible, then in Brahma Samhita we say Lakshmi Sahasrashalasam Brahma Sevimanam. In Goloka Vrindavan, thousands of Lakshmi are serving Krishna. And so how is that? Can you help me reconcile, Prabhu?
Okay, so yes, what you heard is true. This is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita. In the conversation between Lord Chaitanya and Venkata Bhatt, even Lord Chaitanya was living in Sri Rangam. So, in joking way, Lord Chaitanya actually told Venkata Bhatt that why your Lakshmi Devi, who's the foremost of all the chaste ladies, wants to leave Narayan and go and associate with Krishna. So when Venkata Bhatt heard these joking remarks of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, "My dear sir, why you're making jokes like this? There is no difference between Krishna and Narayan. Lord Krishna is Narayan. So if Lakshmi wants to leave and go and associate with Krishna, there's nothing wrong. She's not going another man. She's going to her husband only. But the only thing is, because Krishna's pastimes are more sportive in nature, therefore she got attracted and she wanted to go and associate with him. What is wrong in that? Why are you joking about this in this way?" So Lord Chandra said, yes, what you're saying is all right. There is no difference between Narayan and Krishna. So there is no fault in Lakshmi Devi. But why is it that she was not allowed to enter in Vrindavan? We hear this from Srimad Bhagavatam. There is a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam also. Lord Chaitanya quoted that verse. This is the prayers of Nagapatnis, the wife of Kaliya. They are praying to Krishna. That even Lakshmi couldn't get entrance in Vrindavan. We don't know what kind of pious activity this Kaliya has done, that he has received the dust from your lotus feet. Even Lakshmi was not given entrance in Vrindavan, what to speak of dust. So they were expressing their wonder. So there is an instance where Lakshmi actually tried to enter in Vrindavan, but she was not given entrance. Bhagavatam is a pramana as well. So then Venkata Bhatt said, well, I don't know, because I'm an insignificant living entity. I really don't know why Lakshmi was not given entrance. And Lord Chaitanya actually told Venkata Bhatt, because Lakshmi Devi refused to accept the mood of gopis. And therefore, she was not given entrance in Golok Vrindavan. Because in Vrindavan, one can only enter in Vrindavan by following in the footsteps of gopis. So I hope that
So how why doesn't Lord Brahma say that then there are thousands of Lakshmi serving Krishna in Golok Vrindavan?
so Lakshmi doesn't mean only the concept of Lord Narayan. Even gopis are referred as Lakshmis. You know? So gopis are also regarded as Lakshmis. And as we read in today's purports as well, that you know, the ladies in Vaikuntha, they are also almost on the level of Lakshmi. They are not the wives of Lord Narayan; they are wives of the devotees in Vaikuntha. You know? So they are also referred as goddess of fortune, or Lakshmi, because they are very beautiful, and they are almost on the level of Lakshmi Devi. But they are not the wives of Narayan.
So Prabhuji, so when we actually understand the Brahma Samhita verse, should we understand that the Lakshmi which is referred there are actually the gopis or actually Shri?
Gopis, they are referring to gopis only.
Because devotees usually when we quote this verse, actually say they see thousands of Lakshmi, are trying to serve Krishna. I mean, we use or we refer to that particular verse in terms of actually Lakshmi Devi, not the gopis. I've rarely heard devotees who referred Lakshmi Devi as the Lakshmi in the verse as gopis instead of.
Prabhupada actually mentions in the purport, thousands of Lakshmis or gopis, they are serving Krishna. Prabhupada mentions that in his, I think, famous purport of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So there he quotes Lakshmi Sahasra Shatasambramsi. Thousands, hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis or gopis serving Krishna. So gopis are to be referred as Lakshmis in that verse.
Okay, sure. Thanks so much, Prabhuji. I have another question, maybe if time permits.
I had a question about Narottamilada's Prabhu's same question follow. I just wanted to understand, Prabhu, is Brahma Samhita a description of only Goloka, or is it the general description of a spiritual world?
It's only description of Goloka Mata.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay.
I mean, there is also a description of other places, but the Golokas is the main focus. Krishna is the actually center of all prayers. There is also a description, like Devi, Mahesha, Haridham, Shukteshu. The relative location of Vaikuntha and material world is also described in that verse.
Yeah, so when this Sahasra Lakshmi, this verse is referred, I always thought that it is about the different Lakshmi Devis in the various Vaikuntha planets. So,
No, it's actually referring to especially Golokunda.
Thank you, Prabhu, for clarifying.
You want to say something?
I just wanted to comment one thing.
Mataji, your voice is very low. We cannot hear you.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now, Prabhu?
Yes.
Prabhu, I was just thinking that about the chanting that you were mentioning. There's a wonderful seminar by Sachinandan Maharaj. I mean, he's so well known to talk about the living name. His book called Living Name, and he also recently did a month ago about living name seminar. It's online and it's just been amazing. I've been listening to it. I'm on the second part now, where actually he really connects us with holy name. Every day in the morning before I chant, I'm trying to listen to a little bit before I actually start chanting. So I can post that, Prabhu. So if devotees would like to listen to it.
That'll be nice.
Is it a recorded lecture, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. It's on YouTube called Living Name Seminar by Sachinandan Swami. You should be able to see. There's part 1, part 2. I think there's part 3 or 4 also. I've not gone there yet. I'm on part 2. So,
Mataji, could you share the link?
I will post it, Mataji.
We'll take the last question. Vinita Mataji, you can ask your question.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandat Pranam. Prabhuji, in India today is Ekadashi and starting of the Jhulan yatra. So, Prabhuji, can you say something how it started and what's the pastimes of Radha Krishna on that day?
So maybe you want to read Ekadashi sign today? Somebody wants to read Ekadashi, the significance of Ekadashi?
In the evening? Because your ekadashi will start by evening.
Yeah, our ekadashi will start in the morning. Yeah, so we can maybe read in the morning.
Yeah.
But Jhulan Yatra is one of the what do you call festival of Vrindavan, Golok Vrindavan, where the devotees actually put Radha and Krishna on the swing and swing them. It's actually a beautiful festival, especially in this month of Shravana. Generally in Vrindavan or in Golok Vrindavan, the devotees actually prepare a jhula. Of course, in temples also here, we see the beautiful jhula is prepared, but the whole mood is serving Radha and Krishna together in a swing, because swinging is actually what do you call I'm not getting the appropriate word. It's actually very a unique way or form of enjoyment. You see, even small children, when you put them in jhula and try to swing them, they become pacified and they feel nice. Even small children who don't have any developed consciousness, much developed consciousness as well, still they feel pacified when you put them in the swing. So swinging is actually a very wonderful and unique experience. And especially in Vrindavan, the devotees love to put Radha and Krishna on the swing and swing them together. So it's a festival of Golok Vrindavan. Generally, you don't find that festival in any other incarnations. In Vaikuntha, there is could be such festival, but I never heard that. But for this festival of Jhulan is especially very unique to Vrindavan, where devotees like to put Radha and Krishna together on swing and swing them together. But I never heard any significant pastime of how it started. There could be somebody, if knows, they can share.
Actually, in the Vaishnavi Sangha group, Vanamali Mataji has shared, Mataji, Veeta Mataji, that document. Should I put it on the Chant and Be Happy group?
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Sure, Mataji.
Yeah, I will share it. Yeah, I think
Okay,
some of the people are still having some questions, so maybe I'll share it and we can take up.
Yes, sure, Mataji. Okay, thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
9:30. We stop here.
So it's already 9:30. I think we can stop here.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Yes.
Don't chat it.